Hey guys, today we are going to talk a little bit about where do you start when you're trying to buy a home. So you've been looking maybe on that website that starts with a Z, maybe even the one that starts with an R, but you really don't know how to go from dreaming to reality. And working with a local realtor who understands not only the areas and the neighborhoods you're looking in, but also the process is key. And what we can do as your trusted advisor is pair you up with a local lender who we know, like, and trust, who is very familiar with the process. And that's why today I've asked my favorite realtor, Kaila Parker, to join me because she is so well versed in everything first time home buyer. So I just wanted to introduce you to Kaila and let her give you a little guidance on where you even start. So thanks for joining me, Kaila. I appreciate you being here. So let's talk to most of my folks that watch these videos are first time home buyers, maybe second time. So they don't really consider themselves professionals at it.
Yeah.
But really what I wanted to focus on today is that first time home buyer who really doesn't even know how to start.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, hello again. I'm Kaila Parker with Reliance Mortgage, and I love being Wayne's favorite local lender. One of the things I wish somebody had told me when I was a young 20 something, I was reading every real estate book out there because I wanted to buy my first home. And I never understood that it was okay to not put 20% down. Now, let me just say this. I did figure it out because I did not put 20% down on my first home. And honestly, there's people with money who choose not to put 20% down. So I just want to get that myth out of the way.
Yes.
And one of the things that I start with first time home buyers is, let's talk about what your goals are. Is this your starter home? Eventually you will move on. Or are you more conservative? Let's say this area very well and you really don't like to move and you know that. So you are really going in and you want to make a very firm purchase because you're going to be there for a long time.
Right.
That can really change our strategy. So first and foremost, I am getting to know you and what your goals are. Now, the mortgage application. One of the things I always do is I really explain what I am looking at in the mortgage application. And the first thing, especially if you're younger, that we need to take of serious importance is our job history.
Yes.
And the length of time at our job is very important. And so what we're looking for is 2 years of consistent job history. If you are an hourly employee, we can use your overtime, but we must do a written verification of employment oftentimes because we're looking at the last 2 years. And so we're looking at your last paycheck from 2 years ago, your last paycheck from this most recent year, so we can count all the overtime because we need as much income as we can get to know exactly what your budget is.
Right.
So employment is huge. I remember when I was younger, I job hopped more. And that's one of the things that I always want to educate people on. Now, if you're coming out of college, we do have exceptions for that. So you came out of college, you're just starting your first job, your salary, we can make that work oftentimes.
Okay.
So employment's huge.
Yeah.
Then we're looking at credit. And we can work with really low credit scores. So don't just think, oh, I don't have perfect credit or I just got started, so I can't buy a home. Absolutely not. Our down payment assistance, for example, we can go down as low as 640 and still get down payment assistance.
Oh, that's nice.
So a lot of people, they feel really insecure if their credit isn't perfect. And just so you know, especially if you're younger, no one has perfect credit.
Right.
And so we just work with that. It does impact your pricing, but I work with realtors to help you negotiate in ways that we can actually help on the pricing on the back end.
Right.
So I am looking at your credit. This is also a great place to start to let me do a soft check because you may have something dinging your credit you didn't even know about. Quick story, had a realtor I was working with the other day. She's doing a loan for herself. Perfect credit, does all kinds of investing, just really smart financially. She had a credit card from 4 years ago that she thought was closed out, was dinging her credit over $9.
Oh, wow.
So it was a good thing that we got in early on the application process before she put an offer in on the home, we were able to get that taken off her credit.
Oh,
so
good.
yeah, really important. That's why you put in the mortgage application, to make sure we can catch anything that we don't even know may be out there
Right.
in advance. So we've talked about employment, we've talked about credit. The credit allows me to pull in your debts, so your liabilities. We're talking about, if you have a credit card, what is that monthly payment? If you have a car loan, what is that monthly payment? Because what we're going to do is figure out how much money you make versus how much you're spending a month, and we can calculate what your potential mortgage payment is, and that's going to give us a ratio. And oftentimes, first time home buyers end up going with an FHA loan. And one of the reasons is we can have a higher debt to income ratio and still qualify for the home. That's really a lot of times what that comes down to.
Right.
But that's what I'm looking at. I'm presenting you options. If you qualify for both conventional loan and an FHA loan, I'm going to present to you both options, show you where your monthly payment is, explain what private mortgage insurance is, and I'm really going to walk you through step by step so you understand that you don't just qualify for one loan, you qualify for multiple, and then it's your choice, and I'll walk you through that, kind of give you pros and cons of each, and then you get to make that choice.
That's great, because I know when I meet with first-time home buyers, a lot of them, they think, oh, well, I can't qualify because I haven't done this or I haven't done that, or I don't have a 20% down payment. So that's great for people to know that there are so many loan types out there now that don't require 20%. I mean, yay for you if you have 20% and you want to put that down. That's great, because that's going to give you some other benefits. But if you don't have that, there are other options. There are 100% loans. There are 3% down. There are so many different, or is it 3.5? Three and a half. Three and a half now. But there are so many options out there, and that's great to just know what your options are. And I love what you said about you could do a soft pull. So it's not going to ding your credit for them to pull your information and advise you what your outcome or your situation rather is. And then what I can do with that, Kaila and I work really closely together, and she'll let me know, here's what we need to do. We're probably 6 months out, maybe a year, or we're good. We can go ahead and start looking. Either way, what I can do then is start sending you market updates with homes in the area so that you can start figuring out, okay, here's my budget. These are really the neighborhoods I like that fall into that budget, because a lot of people don't understand that either.
That's right.
Every neighborhood has its kind of price point. It's not just Pensacola is $250,000. It's this neighborhood may have $200,000 homes, but this home only has 300 and up. So that's good for us to know too. So it's all about helping you as the customer be more prepared and better informed to make the best financial decision for you and your family and what your end goals are.
I'm so glad you said that, because one of the first things I always tell anyone that I'm working with is, hey, I can qualify you up to the brim.
Right.
I can give you your max budget. But to me, what is more important is affordability. And that comes down to that monthly payment.
Yes.
So if you can tell me what your monthly payment goal is, I will tell you how much house you can afford, whether you like the answer or you don't. But it is so important that we start with affordability, because you don't want to feel house poor. That doesn't make the home buying process fun or home ownership fun.
No.
And one of the things we can do is, the more affordable the home is, that allows us to work with you over years to help you grow into that next home. Maybe we turn this one to an investment. And so I'm always big on what is affordable for you now, knowing that your income will probably grow, but we want to start where we're comfortable at now so we can still go out to eat and enjoy all the great things that our area has to offer.
Exactly. And that's a good point, because my goal as your realtor of choice is to make sure you find a home that you feel comfortable in, you can afford, and you're not having to sacrifice going out to dinner, meeting your friends for a Wahoo's game, taking a vacation, meeting me on a cruise. Because I don't want you to call me in 6 months and say, Wayne, I've got to sell this house because I really can't afford it. So we sit down and we talk about all those things. it's not just as straightforward as let's buy a house, because we're here to be your advisors and your guide to help you make the best decision. At the end of the day, it's your decision. You can decide, hey, I'm okay being house poor because now I can get that house in East Hill where all my friends live and it's free to walk to the park. Well, excellent. Thanks so much for being here for this segment, Kaila. I really appreciate it. If you're interested in all the financial ins and outs, you can always call Kaila. I'm going to drop her number and her information below this video. It'll also magically appear right here. But you can reach out to Kaila. You can reach out to me. We'll get you connected. But if you really are interested in this, Kaila and I will have more videos on this topic. And you can follow along, like, share, and you can see each update that we do. That'll help you understand how to navigate this process. So go ahead and hit that like, follow, and share, and I'll see you on the next one.
Thanks, Wayne.